The main character of this story, his name is Naruto Uzumaki. And the whole point of this show is basically chronicling his life from once being an impoverished nobody to becoming one of the strongest and most legendary figures in all of history. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Shippuden literally translates to Hurricane Chronicles or Hurricane Legend, Legend of the Strong Wind. It's a lot of interpretations there. And that's because it's not an actual word used in Japanese conversation. The word Shippuden is broken up into 3 kanji. If you enjoy the music of the Naruto series, you might recognize this symbol in the middle here from some of the openings and endings. This is kaze. This is the kanji for wind. Easily the most relevant aspect thematically of this entire title. Naruto uses wind chakra, right? The symbol right before it, though, in this context, it just reads as shi, but it's also a kanji that represents words like swift or rapid when describing something. Put that symbol together with the kanji for wind, and together they read as hayate or shippu. Whichever way you read it is extremely dependent on the context in which it's used. Either way, these 2 kanji together are generally understood to represent a storm or hurricane. Then that 3rd symbol at the very end, you've probably seen this in a bunch of titles before. The Japanese have been using this for centuries to sort of represent some sort of folklore, folk tale, some legendary story, right? Shippuden, Retsuden, Naruto has a lot of those. Hakenden, that's an underrated gem. I'm sure you've seen it before. So if you put it all together, Shippuden basically means the legend of the hurricane, which is significant for Naruto, again, the main character of this story, because his last name is Uzumaki, which translates to spiral, which obviously is the shape of a hurricane, and also the Rasengan, Naruto's signature move. It's the shape of the QB seal on his stomach as well. So, long story short, Kishimoto basically called the second part of Naruto Shippuden because this is the bulk of the story of how Naruto became the greatest ninja in all of history, which in universe and in our real life, I'm sure will be told for generations to come. This also explains where video game titles like Uzumaki Chronicles and Ultimate Ninja Storm come from. This one is pretty simple. The entire story is about a world full of pirates looking for a lost treasure, and it's called the One Piece. It may go deeper than that symbolically, but as of right now, in the big 2026, we still don't know what the actual treasure is yet. I could speculate, but there's about 82 other channels that's out there doing that already. This one is all symbolism. Spoiler alert, Ichigo, unfortunately, he doesn't bust out a bottle of Clorox in the final battle against Yuha. No, the title Bleach is supposed to represent a cleansing, the purification of the world that they exist in. This is essentially the function of the Soul Reapers, the spiritual guardians of the Bleach world. They go around purifying hollows with their swords, hollows being essentially just corrupted souls of dead people that need the Soul Reapers to help them finally pass on into the afterlife, lest they grow into these monstrous forms and start attacking innocent people. Ultimately, Bleach is the story of the main character, Ichigo's journey discovering his place in such a mysterious ecosystem and basically bleaching, right, not just hollows from the world, but any and all forms of corruption. Or at least he tries to. You know, so, some of those stains you just can't get out. There are 7 magical wish-granting orbs called the Dragon Balls. They attract all sorts of people and creatures from all across the universe to find them and make a wish. The whole story is about Goku, the main character, and all of his friends, usually having to prevent bad guys from collecting the Dragon Balls and making all sorts of horrible, evil wishes. They are orange crystal-like balls, and when you get them all together, a magical dragon spawns in. It's pretty self-explanatory. Jujutsu Kaisen literally translates to sorcery fight, in English. I'll never forget when they tried to get away with that on the anime sites a couple years ago. Or it can also mean cursed technique battle, which obviously is how most conflict is resolved in the show. Everybody uses a bunch of spiritually based techniques and abilities. They're called cursed techniques. Jujutsu is basically the power system of the world, and then the people have a kaisen. Make sense? Kimetsu no Yaiba is another kind of just straight up Japanese title that this one translates to Demon Destroying Blade. No, not that one. Which is what swords are mainly used for in this show. In a world where we have man-eating demonic creatures roaming the night, there exists an organization built for the sole purpose of cutting down all these demons using a bunch of different sword techniques. The English dub tweaked the title a little bit, calling it Demon Slayer, which kind of makes it seem like it's more about the person wielding the blade rather than the actual blade itself. I do also have a theory that the Demon Slayer could be the name of Tanjiro's sword, but I am an anime only. Nobody say anything. Whether it's the name of the sword or the occupation of the person wielding the sword, that's what you got. It's kind of a double entendre if you think about it. Well, we don't gotta worry about the Japanese title because Boku no Hero Academia literally translates to My Hero Academia, which gets its name from the superpowered society and overall superhero culture that the story is based on, which also includes literal academies where people can study to become heroes professionally. The definition of the word academia is a community of students and educators and scholarly people alike, all working together to create this ecosystem of higher learning. The whole show is about the main character and the wider world, more importantly, all learning about what it truly means to be a hero for the people. The main setting of this series is in a place called the Clover Kingdom, where society is ran by magic and everybody is a wizard. Almost everybody, because the main character of the show, Asta, he has no magic, and so he becomes an outcast. So of course you got the thematic definition, Asta being the black sheep of the Clover Kingdom, right? Asta joins a team called the Black Bulls. He eventually acquires anti-magic that uses black aura. It looks cool. The grimoire that he uses to use the anti-magic has this black 5-leaf clover on it. So that's a more pragmatic way of looking at the title if you want. Or if you really know ball, you know that this story isn't just about Asta and is arguably split between Asta and the deuteragonist, his brother Yuno. Asta has the black power and Yuno has the clover power. The legendary 4-leaf clover grimoire, who Yuno is pretty much treated like the walking flag of the Clover Kingdom. And obviously they're rivals, so you got many ways to look at the Black Clover title. None of them is going to save that ending. Shingeki no Kyojin is literally the name for the Attack Titan, the main character, Aaron's true form, which we see all throughout this story. So you could just say that the story is named after him and that the whole Attack on Titan thing is just a logistic choice by a bunch of corporate executives to have the title of the show flow a little bit better in foreign markets. Kind of like the Demon Slayer thing, but if you do look into the translation, it tells a little bit deeper of a story. Yes, Shingeki no Kyojin is the name of the Attack Titan in the show. However, literally the phrase translates as the Advancing Giant, which is just a perfect title for a story about a boy who is secretly a giant, steadfast, advancing towards his goal for freedom and securing a future for his loved ones. I mean, a bunch of advancing giants, a bunch of giants moving forward. This is literally what the rumbling is. The story takes place in a world where alchemy is a widely practiced science and a pretty common means of waging battle between people, and it mainly follows the story of two brothers on a journey retrieving their missing limbs, and even their entire body for one of them, after sacrificing them in an attempt to bring their dead mother back to life, because equivalent exchange and all that. Alchemy users officially recognized by the government are given the title of state alchemist, after which they are usually given some type of moniker. For example, Roy Mustang is the Flame Alchemist because he uses fire to fight. Edward Elric, the main protagonist of this story, after passing his state alchemy exam, He's given the nickname Fullmetal Alchemist, or Alchemist of Steel if you're going off the literal Japanese translation. This is because of his right arm and his left leg, which are both prosthetics made completely out of metal after, the whole situation with their mom. Even though most people usually mistake the younger brother Alphonse to be the Fullmetal Alchemist because he's the one stuck in a giant suit of armor. Tragic. One day, the main character finds a notebook on the ground called the Death Note, which has the power to kill anybody. All you have to do is write their full birth name down in the book, and basically it becomes a story of the main character, like Yagami, doing everything in his power to keep both the book and the fact that he's been using it secret. For this one, I think I'm just going to read the Viz description. Broke young man plus chainsaw demon equals chainsaw man. Yep, that's pretty much it. In another world where man-eating demons exist, this homeless kid makes a contract with a demon in an alleyway where they essentially merge bodies, and his power is that of a chainsaw. There's no need to go any deeper into the story than that. It's a bunch of stories, mini-series of adventures with people all with the same nickname, Jojo. Some of them are related, some of them aren't. As for why it's bizarre, I think the outfits kind of tell you all you need to know. This story focuses on a world where people become hunters, individuals with certain unique skills that spend their time doing all sorts of jobs in search of stuff like priceless artifacts, or just a want to explore all the unseen wonders of the world. As for why the X is there, it's silent, so it doesn't need to be pronounced. This is more like a cultural thing for Japan. This X is really just meant to be a visual indicator, connecting words to each other, right? The same way that a slash would, they, them. I hope I didn't trigger anybody. It basically just emphasizes that hunters are always clashing and are always at the center of every conflict. If you want, you could read this as Hunter versus Hunter, Hunter v Hunter, Hunter squared, Another story centered around magic and wizards, but with a much more straightforward title than Black Clover. In this world exist numerous wizard guilds, all with fancy names and a whole host of fascinating characters, the most popular one of them being the Fairy Tale Guild, where the entire story is basically about all the wacky misadventures that the guild goes on, from trips to the amusement park all the way to slaying ancient mythological demons and dragons. It's pretty cool, to be honest. This one might be spoilers if you haven't seen the end of Dr. Stone, so here's your warning now to skip ahead if you don't want to know. All right, we good? Basically, Dr. Stone is the nickname for Senku Ishigami, genius scientist and main character of this story who is accredited for mostly being responsible for bringing humanity back from the brink of extinction after everybody in the world was suddenly and mysteriously turned to stone. After finally rebuilding society and getting to the bottom of this huge great mystery, which culminates in a trip to the moon in what is practically still the Stone Age, Senku's story was then put into textbooks for future generations of scientists to study. This is where he's given the name of Dr. Stone. This is how history will remember him. Dr. Stone, the anime, is the story of how Senku earns that name. A brand new virtual reality MMORPG drops, and it's called Sword Art Online. It requires a headset that connects directly to the player's brain, stimulating all 5 of their senses. The whole show is then about why this concept is a horrible idea in reality, even though it does sound cool as hell. And oh my gosh, we're already like halfway there in real life. We're running a little bit behind schedule. It's currently 2026, which is 4 years after this story is supposed to be taking place, which is violently depressing. But hey man, how about that new Echoes of Aincrad? Code Geass is named after the ocular ability given to the main character, Lelouch, in the first episode, a supernatural ability where just by looking somebody in the eyes and giving them an order forces them to be absolutely obedient to Lelouch, who is using all of this as just a means of overthrowing the government. because the full name of this series is actually Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion. I would assume the code part of the title comes from the concept of indoctrination, which is obviously a huge aspect of any oppressive governmental regime. The show was named after a teenage boy named Baki Hanma, aiming to be the greatest pure hand-to-hand combat fighter in all of the entire world. Another superhero society similar to My Hero Academia, except this show is not about a teenage boy and is instead about a guy so insanely strong that he kills most people with one punch. Most people. And that's where things get interesting. The main cast of characters are all based off of the 7 deadly sins in mythology: pride, greed, wrath, envy, you know the rest. In a world where RPG video game mechanics are basically real life, the main character he gets access to this internal leveling system where he is then able to greatly improve upon his own fighting power. People usually work together in teams in this series, running dungeon missions and stuff, because it's a video game, except in real life. The main character, though, Sun Jin-woo, he's so strong he doesn't really need a team. He does most of these by himself. He levels up by himself. Solo leveling. This story is named after two people, two girls that meet on a train who actually share the same first name. One is a rock star and the other is a girl's girl. They move in together. It's a whole thing. Do they end up together? No spoilers. The story takes place in Tokyo and is about more people eating monsters, this time called ghouls. They're trying to find a way to somehow live amicably amongst the humans, but obviously it's nowhere near that simple. This is another one of those Hunter x Hunter situations where the X is silent. It's a story about a spy who has to create a fake family as part of some much larger, deep undercover operation for this spy organization to help put an end to a decades-long war in the country. The other members of the family are the wife, who is actually an assassin, the daughter, who has telepathic powers, and a dog who can see into the future. None of them know about their true identities, except for the little girl, because she can read minds. If it's me, I apologize. I'm just high, so sometimes I'll just emphasize. I'm just shy, so I really need to emphasize. After this performance, check my vitals, make sure that I'm still alive, 'cause I give it all.